We should be recording. All right, so welcome. We're gonna kind of finish up our look at logic, circuits, and truth tables as we move into the next section, um, which is quantified statements. So let me go ahead. So you saw a bit of input circuits in the lesson, and input output tables and so forth. So I just want to spend a couple minutes talking about that, and then we'll go into an activity that you will work in small groups for. So here's a circuit, and the question is, what would the input output table look like? In this case, the inputs are P and Q, and the output would be R. So we can go through and think about what those would be. So if P and Q are both 1, then we have, let me get this over here so I can write. So if P and Q are both 1, then we have a 1 here and a 1 here. So entering this AND gate is a 1, and then this Q goes through a NOT gate, so that's 0. 1 and 0 is 0. And so 0 will enter that OR gate. And then I have this AND gate down here. P enters with a 1 and Q enters with a 1. So ANDing 1 and 1 is a 1. So 1 comes into the OR gate. 0 or 1 is 1. And then we have this last AND gate, which brings in Q originally, so 1 and 1, so R would be 1. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to take probably 2 or 3 minutes to trace this out. Write your answer down. And get ready to put it in the chat, but just don't put it in the chat yet. And I will show you an example of what I want to see in the chat. So 1 and 0 is whatever it is. 0. Anyway, you start doing that. I'll be typing in an example. So you're not entering anything into the chat yet. You're completing this input-output table. And as you finish that up, there is an example of how to enter your answer in the chat. Please, 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 please do not hit enter. Go ahead and type your answer. The question mark for R is what your answer is, but do not hit enter yet. I'll give you another maybe 2 minutes. Okay, and now every student should be entering something into the chat because this is how I'm going to take attendance for today. So go ahead and press enter. I should have a response from every student. There are 24 of you, and I do not see 24 responses yet. Okay, so I believe I have to erase those or they'll show up on the next screen. Okay, so for an input of 1 and 0, the output should be 0. Still have a few coming in. It's okay if you flubbed it a little bit. With a response of 0 and 1, we should end up with an output of 0 and 0. So the question then becomes, what does this tell us about how this circuit could be simplified?
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
I think the next slide agrees with what I said, but in that the second, the P is false, Q is one line, results in 1.
All right, let me step it through. It's possible I have a typo. Okay, so you're talking about this. Oops. You're talking
Yeah.
about this line?
You kind
Yeah.
of cut out there on my end. Uh, what does
Are you
that
referring to
say?
this?
Yes, to that line,
Okay.
which the next slide agrees with.
The next slide isn't necessarily the same circuit as this slide.
I see. But yes, if we could step through it, that'd be great.
Yeah, yeah.
So that input output table is just the input output table of an AND gate, right?
Okay, can you tell me your thinking there?
We need two truths for we need two inputs of 1 for an output of 1,
Okay,
and when P and Q is 1 and 0, it's 0. When it's 0 and 1, it's 0, and when it's 0 and 0, it's 0. So that's
okay.
the input output table of AND gate, right? Like if we were to put those,
Right. So you're
yep,
referring to, hold on.
like we could simplify it with just using a single AND gate. That's what I'm basically trying to
Right. You're
say.
saying because this row is the only
Oh,
row that
I
has an output
I,
of
I don't
one.
think it's sharing anymore. I
Oh,
can't
this is
see a
weird.
screen. Sorry.
Yeah, no, thank you for telling me. Something's gone awry.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah. Now we just see like the main presentation rather than like a preview of the next screen. That's great.
that's weird. Okay, hold on. Let me, I wonder why it did that. Okay, let me go into settings here. Let me move this over here so I can write. And there's my eraser. There it is. Okay, so is there still a question about um,
Actually, no. Sorry. I just went through it again very carefully just now. And yeah, the class and everyone and you are totally correct. Sorry.
oh, okay. Okay. And then I'm sorry, I couldn't see who was speaking, but one of you was speaking about this is the important row. And can you see the highlighter?
Yeah.
The little
Yeah.
laser pointer. I think it's a laser pointer. Anyway, yeah, because the only time we get an output is when both P and Q are one. So this complicated circuit could be replaced with a single AND gate, which was, I think, what you were trying to say.
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, thank you. All right, let me move this out over here. Problem is when I want to go to write, it doesn't always work. Okay, and that's not what I want. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide, which is here. Okay, so here we have an input-output table from some circuit or from somewhere else. It may not even be a circuit. But we've been talking about circuits as a way to envision how these truth tables might be represented in the real world. Okay, so we want to create a Boolean expression from those. So if you'll recall, the Boolean expressions are the ones where we have like P and Q and so forth, right? So looking at, so if this is an input, oops, input, and this is an input, and this is our output. Um, how might we, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It doesn't necessarily have to be an input or an output, but how might I create a Boolean expression from this table? I look at this row, and what else should I look at to create my Boolean expression?
The other row that's true.
Right. And let me go ahead. Yeah, well, I forgot. There was actually an extra slide there. Yeah, what matters is the rows that are true. So what matters is that row and that row. Okay. So looking at these two rows, oops, I want you to take a minute and write out what the Boolean expression is for this input output table You're going to put it in the chat, but I don't want you to yet hit enter. Okay. So again, every student, I should have 24 of these, should enter the Boolean expression for this input-output table. Again, the focus is on these two rows. Let me get the other arrow there. And such that they create an output of 1. Okay, so I'll give you 90 seconds or so to do that. I'll tell you when to hit enter. Oh, somebody hit enter. Oh, full expression. Just the full thing, whatever is required to model those to outputs of 1. And feel free to write or the words or and because, yeah, in Zoom chat, we have no special mathematical symbols. All right, go ahead and start hinting enter, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, okay. Looks good. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard when you don't have the mathematical symbols at your disposal. But since as we look at this table and we see that in the first row, R is 1, that means both P and Q, as we see in that table, have to be 1. So we'd have a P and a Q for that first row. And then for the third row, we would have a not P because that's a 0, and Q. So we've got a 0 and a 1. And either one of those will work, so we connect them with an OR, and we end up with a P and Q, or a not P and Q. Okay. Are there any questions on that? Since the Q is a 1 in both of those rows, we wouldn't not the Q, because the Q has the value of 1 in both cases. So you'll notice that Q is not negated in either case. We negate the P in the third row because in that row, the value of P is a 0. So that's why it's a not P and Q for the third row. Okay, any questions? Okay. So any questions in general about input-output tables? Because I'm going to have you do one more here, and then we're going to go off into our groups. Now, as you're thinking about this, this is your output. So drop in the chat, which rows am I interested in creating a Boolean expression here? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. There are 8 rows. Two, 5, and 6. Good. Okay, so if we're looking at 2, yeah. If we're looking at 2, 5, and 6, so this row, 5 and 6, okay? What is the Boolean expression for row 2? Drop it in the chat. The Boolean expression for row 2. Okay. I see a P and a Q and a not R. Okay. So we're going to have a P and Q and not R for row 2. Or, and then the Boolean expression for row 5. So in row 5, because this P is a 0, we need to use not P and then Q and R. Yeah. And Q and R. Or, and then moving to our last row, drop the Boolean expression in there. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of, oh, this is hard to write, not P and Q and not R. Yeah, because the R is a 0. Okay, cool. Looks good. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into small groups and you're going to work on an activity. They are slides in Google Drive. So basically what we're going to do is look at how truth tables can help us to analyze information. So it's a whodunit. It's called The Case of the Missing Coconuts. So some coconuts were stolen. And here are our suspects. We've got 4 of them. You can abbreviate them with A, B, C, D. There are tools, and all of this information are in the slides. We have a rope, a hammer, or a wrench that was used to break in and steal the coconuts. Here are the clues. The clues are in the slides, so I'm not going to read those to you. What you're going to do is in your workspace, you're going to translate each of those clues into an implication or an and or an or something like that. We're going to translate all of those, and then you're going to do a truth table. For example, oh, that translation, I missed fixing that. If Alice is guilty, then the tool was a wrench. So the implication there should be A implies W. So the truth table would look something like this. And you're going to be able to type in. You're going to work in a group, so somebody's going to be typing in your answers. And so on and so forth. So you're going to go through there. And then we're going to hopefully, if we have time, come back and talk about why using the truth tables was a good strategy to use. So with that in mind, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to, I will give them to you in a minute. I'm going to create the breakout rooms. All right, there we go. So each of you is assigned to a breakout room, and that breakout room has a number. I will come into each breakout room and give you the URL for your deck of slides. So I'm going to open the rooms in just a minute. And then you go into your rooms, and then I'm coming in and giving you each your set of slides. I'm going to give you about 20 minutes to work on this together. And then I'm going to pull you back out. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Go ahead and move to your rooms. I will come join you and give you a link to your set of slides. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Let's see. Okay, this should. Oh, that's interesting. That did not work well. Okay. Aiden and Daniel. Looks like I'm going to have to give them to you individually. That was not what I practiced. Okay. There you go. Please go ahead and introduce yourselves, because I'm guessing you did not work with these same people last time. And let me know if you have any questions, okay?
Hi.
Okay.
It's just different syntax now, yeah. I did it. I did that class like 2 semesters ago, so last fall.
hmm
It's all coming back, but yeah, the T and Fs over ones and zeros was bugging me, and also yeah, just the different way of writing it. But I
Yeah.
guess once you get over that, it's all the same.
Oh, apparently I was muted. Okay, apparently I have to give you these links one at a time. So yeah, so take a second. Please go ahead and introduce yourselves to each other, and you should all have a link to the Google Slides. You have any questions?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
all right.
Hey there.
This is taking me a few more minutes than I thought, because I have to share the slides one at a time. So please take a minute or so, if you haven't already, to introduce yourselves. Andrew, Alexander, did you get the link?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay. All right. I was like, wait a minute, did that go through? Okay, there you go. Do you have any questions for me?
Nice. Um, I mean, it's possible. I'm hoping this. I have a feeling the slides will tell us just what to do.
Yep. And there's tables already set up there for you. Okay?
Good. Good.
Okay.
Just something about the way he's looking at me.
It's gotta be Bob.
Howdy!
Hello.
Oh.
This is taking a little longer than I thought. I
No
can't,
problemo.
as a group, I have to do it individually. So this is how it's going to be.
Got it. Oh, then we got a Google Doc for it. I see.
Yeah. It's Google Slides. You're going to just go in and fill in the information. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to introduce yourselves to everybody. Do you have any questions for me?
As
No,
of
we're just
current, I
gonna
don't really. Yeah.
Okay.
gonna edit the slides. All right.
All right.
Just gonna dig right into it.
Dig
Appreciate
right
it,
in.
Dr. Watkins.
Yep. Thank you. All right, sorry this is taking a little longer than I thought because I'm having to individually give you the links rather than as a group. So apologies for that. You should start getting links to the Google Doc, or it's actually Google Slides in the chat. And as you do that, I hope you took a moment or two to introduce yourselves. If you haven't already, please do so. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, got it. All right, you are the last, but you are certainly not the least. I'm sorry this is taking just a little bit longer than I thought because it wasn't letting me message you as a group. So right now I'm dropping in a link to a Google Doc for each of you. They should be showing up momentarily. I'm sorry that took a little longer than I thought. Please introduce yourselves and go ahead and get started on those slides. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay. All right, I'll poke my head in a little bit to see how things are going.
filled that out, then we could find the final answer, I believe so.
Yeah.
What do you guys get what the last slide is supposed to be?
The last slide, I believe, yeah, don't you see the translation A or B or C or D? So this is 4 cases.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'm not understanding,
Um, does
so
anyone
I
understand
believe,
that part?
yeah. So A, B, C,
Hello.
D, we should do. Yeah. Hey,
Hey, how's it
hi.
going? You have any
Can I ask you a
questions?
question? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is and exactly one is guilty mean?
What does, I'm sorry.
Exactly one is guilty mean?
That means that as you're filling out the truth table, we are only interested in the rows where there is only one
Only one.
person that's
Okay.
guilty.
And A or B or C or D is each one case that each one of them is one true in their whole column, right?
Right. So like the first row when I did it was T, 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 T.
Mm-hmm.
And then the column exactly one guilty, I have false because there were four of them guilty.
Yeah.
And then just work that way down through the table.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make
So
sense?
we're gonna have five outputs, which is one all false, which is one is exactly one is guilty, right?
Right.
And the four others are A and B or A or B or C or D, right?
Right. So let me get into your
So
slides.
the left part of this one, it's just the like all possible values, right? So we're listing
Right.
out each thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So in the columns A, B, C, D, you're going to go down and fill in all possible values. Then that very last column where it says exactly one guilty, you're going to look at those entries you have and is exactly one person guilty. If there's more than one, then that's false in that exactly one column.
Because of the and.
Right. So as you go down, you're looking at those values for A, B, C, and D and deciding whether there's exactly one that's guilty. If there is exactly one, then it's true. If there's more than one, then it's false.
Why would we have and exactly one is guilty if we only look for only twos?
Because that was one of the original given clues.
Oh,
That only one person's guilty.
it's guilty. Yeah.
Number 7, yeah, only one person is guilty.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm just checking in to see how things are going.
Think well.
I think good. We've done the individual truth tables,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Now we're just trying to each go through one person and figure out if there's a way to isolate one guilty person.
Cool. Sounds good.
How
Huh.
how is this last truth table, I guess, are we just filling it out?
Yes.
I guess I don't know how we fill it out, like what each line represents. So we just have A, B, C, or D.
So those are the 4 people.
Uh-huh.
Alice, I don't know, Bob. Anyway, the 3
Right.
people, 4 people. You're going to fill out their truth values, just like you do on a regular table. And then so that exactly one guilty, you're going to look like in the example, the first row has all 4 of them guilty. So is it true that exactly one of them is guilty? The answer is no, because it has 4 of them guilty. So that's a false.
Right.
And you just continue filling out the table and then consider as you look A, B, C, and D, is exactly one of those people guilty? Or if there is only one, then it's a true. If there's more than one, it's a false.
Okay, so we
Is
just
it?
we just fill this out
Yeah.
just a normal. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
No, no, it's quite all right. Go
Hello.
to like the, oh, hello.
How are we doing? I
We're
see we're on the last slide.
yeah. We're on the last slide. We're trying to organize it right, and we're just forgetting our binary
I think,
Okay.
to
yeah, I think we're a little confused
organize
on
it.
the last slide.
But
Okay.
basically what we need here is, so let's go back to the fourth line from the bottom, because that's three. Okay, then above that, yes,
This is
F
four.
T F F.
This is
Then
five.
FT, yes, but then it
This is
should
not.
be
Yeah.
FT TF, yes, and then F.
Oh,
Howdy.
she just sent a link to me. Hello.
Hello. How are we doing?
I think we wrapped it
Doing
up.
pretty good. We finished up the document or the
Oh,
slides.
cool.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, sounds good. I'm going to be pulling everybody back in about 3 or 4 minutes. So, all right. We'll see you back in the
Perfect.
big room.
Appreciate it, Dr. Watkins.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The board, since it's
Hello.
or in the
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
We're doing
Good.
very well.
Okay, just letting you know, I'll probably pull everybody back in about 2 minutes. Don't worry if you didn't get to the very last slide because it ended up taking longer for me to get them to you. But go ahead and work until I pull you back. Do you have any questions?
Nope, I think
I don't believe so.
Okay.
set.
All right, we'll see you in the big room.
Thank you so much.
Mhm. Hello.
Hello.
How's it
Hi.
going?
You said?
How's it going?
Good.
Good?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Okay.
We,
Just
on slide 9.
Okay, sounds good. Just letting you know in about 2 minutes, I'm going to pull everybody back in. If you haven't quite finished, don't worry about it. It just took longer tonight for me to get the slides to you, so everything will be fine, but keep working on slide 9, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we'll have everyone joining us in just a moment. All right, everyone should be in here now. Okay, so just to kind of close things out, I want to direct you back to Canvas. And let me share my screen. Pushing the wrong button. There we go. If you go down into Module 1, you're going to see an assignment here. Module 1 in-class activity, the case of the missing coconuts. So if you click on there, you're going to share the URL that you and your group are working on. So just click Start the Assignment, and then you're going to copy the URL and paste it in, and then hit Submit. Okay. Yes, I can leave that. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you is that right below that is a copy of the PowerPoint slides that I used tonight. And it has the answers for all of those truth tables so that you can go back and look at that later. Okay, are there any questions for me? So John, you're supposed to fill out the truth values and then determine whether there was only one person guilty. You can see that in the slide deck if you download it from Module 1. Almost. That's what we were going to talk about. And so the additional slides that we don't have time for tonight, they are in the slide deck and talk about how to figure out who did it and how some of those truth tables were helpful in determining who did it. Okay. If anyone wants to hang on, I'm happy to go through the rest of the slides, but I don't want to keep people past 7 o'clock. Okay. So have a good evening. Go ahead and remember to take the Module 1 content quiz and go ahead and get started on Module 2. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Watkins. Have a good evening.
Yep. You too, Austin.
See you
Bye-bye.
next class.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Yep. You're welcome.
I am curious how you
Okay,
how you
I
would
can do it. Hold on.
deduce the final.
Yeah, same.
Okay. I wasn't sure. So give me just a second. I guess I can just keep recording. Let me pull that back up. PowerPoint. It is. Okay. Hey, what did you do? Oh, the wrong button again. Okay. All right. So here's the idea. Oh, let me get to the right slide. Okay. And share screen. Okay, so there was a lot of information provided in those clues, and so a truth table can help bridge between that abstract kind of description and reasoning through. To try and create a truth table, in this case, would have been 16 rows, and it would have been a very complicated truth table. We can use smaller truth tables to reason through key clues and then combine those truth tables with some of the other information that we have. So here's how I approached it. So those statements, they were all true statements, true clues in what's that happen? They were all true. And so as we go through, that very last one shouldn't have been surprising. If you filled out the values, the truth values, there were only 4 that had exactly one person guilty. And depending on how your truth values were arranged in the table for A, B, C, and D, may not have been exactly the same rows that I have, but they would have been true, false, 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 true, false, 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 true, false, and false, 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 true. I think I got them all. So those would have been how we would capture, but that's not very exciting, not surprising. That particular truth table, and not all the truth tables that you might do, are particularly insightful. So, but let's take a look at statement number 5. That one was, let's see, not with the hammer. If it wasn't the hammer, then is it April did it, I think? So there's the truth table for that. Since all of these statements, or since this translation is assumed to be true, what's interesting is how it can turn out to be false in the table. Okay? So the only way that our original statement is not true is if it's not, or if the tool is not the hammer and Alice is guilty. So the only way this statement is not true is if it's not the hammer and Alice is guilty. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So okay. So then moving on to another truth table that was helpful. That's back to table 1, where if it was Alice, then the tool was the wrench. And if we look at this table, the only way this fails is if, or fails to be true, is if Alice is guilty and the tool is not the wrench. Now notice this row above says that Alice is guilty with the wrench. So we want this statement, this A implies W, to be true. So what we conclude is that if Alice is guilty, then the tool must be the wrench. Now, in this previous slide, we saw that if Alice, previous slide, yeah, if the tool is not the hammer and Alice has to be the guilty one. Okay. So then let's go to, and I'm going to summarize this in a picture in just a minute. So hang with me. Okay. The other truth table that's particularly helpful here, oops, is the one for statement 6. And this, so if it's with the wrench, then I think it's Bob, then Bob is guilty. Now this one shows that the only way this statement cannot be true is if the tool is the wrench and Bob, so tool is the wrench and Bob is not guilty. So if we assume that our original implication is true up here, then if the wrench is the tool, then Bob has to be guilty. And we don't worry about the vacuous statements. Okay, so what did those 3 tables tell us? Okay, from the first table, if it's not the hammer, then Alice got the coconuts. And that was from the first table. That was from table 5. Then from table 1, if Alice is guilty, then the tool is the wrench. That was from table 1. Then from table 6, I believe, yes, from table 6, if the tool was the wrench, that meant that Bob got the coconuts. So we have a contradiction. What's our contradiction? A contradiction is in statement number 7. Statement 7 says there is exactly one person that did it.
Right, okay.
Okay. So this whole chain started with the assumption that it wasn't the hammer. By assuming it wasn't the hammer, we arrived at a contradiction. So what does that mean? That means that the tool must have been the hammer. So the hammer has to be the tool. Now, there's other clues we haven't used yet. What does clue 3 tell us? Clue 3 was if Dave is guilty, then the tool was not the hammer. Is that particularly helpful?
It tells us it's not Dave.
Okay, good. Then what does clue 4 tell us? So it's not Dave. Clue 4, if Bob is guilty, then Carol is innocent. Is that helpful?
Not really, because we already know it's only one person, right?
Right.
So that by itself isn't helpful.
Not by itself, right? What does clue 1 tell us?
It can't be Alice because the tool was not the wrench.
Right. So clue 1, it tells us if Alice is guilty, then the tool was the wrench. But we also have clue 5. If the tool was not the hammer, then Alice is guilty. So what does that tell us, 1 and 5 together?
That the tool is the hammer, we still, right?
The tool is the hammer, so Alice cannot be guilty.
Right.
Okay. Okay. What else do I have? Right, that's what we did. There, got ahead of ourselves. So, oh, I think we skipped clue 2. Either the hammer was used or Carol did not do it. Well, the hammer
Hammer
was
was
used.
used.
Let's go back to that truth table. The 2. Hammer, not Carol. I'm missing the thread right now. Either the hammer was used or hammer was used. Carol did not do it. So we would be looking at row 2. And row 1, right? Yeah. Hammer or not Carol. Wait, no. No, that's right. Hammer or not Carol would be this second row, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's supposed to be Carol. I'm not seeing it at the moment. Let me go back here. So we know it's not the wrench, so we know it can't be Bob. We know it's not Alice because it's not the wrench.
I mean, I guess this is also assuming that we're just like ignoring vacuously true statements, right? Because
Correct.
uh,
And we
okay.
know it's not Dave because of clue number 3. So we've eliminated Bob, Dave, and Alice. So then Carol has to have stolen the coconuts.
Okay. Okay, so just process of elimination.
Yeah, at that point, it's process of elimination. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think just because the vacuously true stuff, because I mean, right. I
It's
mean,
there, but
if we're
it's not
ignoring that
helpful.
stuff, then it is process of elimination. Yeah, but
Yeah.
if we're just taking everything at face value, then there's like other possibilities. I feel like there could be if because one, the rope isn't mentioned at all, but but ignoring that,
Ignoring
um,
that, yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
I feel
so when
like
you
there's some
create,
other possibilities. But yeah, okay. I mean, it all makes sense when you do
yeah,
it like that.
yeah. When you create something like this, yeah, sometimes you miss little things, but yeah. The rope should definitely be in there, and I didn't notice that I forgot to include the rope. Oh, thank you for pointing
No,
that out.
no worries. You can get it for next class.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Yes, you too.
Bye.